let's talk to Harry. Hey, Harry, how are you?
I'm good, Eve. Seth, how are you doing?
I'm well, thank you.
Thanks for taking my call.
Of course. What do you want to talk about?
Okay, so you guys are talking about the subject you're talking. Actually, I'm from India, so I have a different faith, different religion, different ideas than Christianity. But I have studied all the religions. I have studied basically all the religions of the world for the last 24 years. And I have developed some ideas based on that, what religion talks about, what the meaning of religion is, what the meaning of God is. And my ideas are a little different than mainstream Christianity and all that.
Yeah, I'd love to hear what it is you believe. Are you a theist? Do you believe in a God or multiple gods? What would you consider yourself?
Yeah, I believe in God, but like listening to you guys, religion was forced on you guys, and I sympathize with you guys on that. No religion was ever forced upon us. Like in our culture, nobody forces the religion on anybody.
Yeah, I think it would probably depend on how you define force. I'm sure my parents would say they didn't force it on me, but yeah, I was indoctrinated into it. I grew up in it. That's very fair to say.
Yeah, indoctrinate.
But I'm interested to hear what God you believe in and why you believe in that God.
Okay, I am a Sikh. Sikhism is the newest religion. It's only 500 years old, and it's the fifth largest religion in the world. And it's pretty radical religion, different than, it's not, basically, in other religions, there are stories about gods, like in Christianity, but in Sikhism, there are no stories. It's actually philosophies. So it explains basically like the stories in Christianity, Adam and Eve and all those stories. Those are stories based upon certain philosophies. And in Sikhism, those philosophies are detailed, explained, and that's what I study.
Okay. So you'll have to forgive me. I'm not super familiar with Sikhism. I know a little. You guys believe in a personal God, though, right? You believe in one God?
Yes. The God we believe in it, we call it.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, the God we believe in is called Akal Purkh, means an abstract entity, an entity beyond space and time.
And why do you believe in this God?
Why do I believe it, or why our religion believes?
No. Why do you believe that this God exists?
Okay, I have two reasons. One is a personal story, a couple of my personal stories, and then I have been studying religion. I have not been particular religion. I'm not like church-going type of religious person, but I have been studying religion. I've been, practicing, not practicing, but studying basically different religions. So do you want to hear my personal story, or you want hear my ideas?
Seth can answer. I'm most interested in whatever you think is the most compelling reason to believe in that God. But
no, I think yeah. I mean, I'm interested in the answer to Eve's question. Why did you choose this particular faith with this deity? What specific thing or things?
This particular faith comes from, we are Sikh, so I am born in a Sikh family, so we read the scriptures. So that is the answer to why this God. But something happened with me when I was a child. I was like 9 years old, and I was adopted by my uncle, and then we used to live in a city, but in the summer holidays, we used to come visit our family in the village. So I was visiting the family in the village. I was only 7, 8 years old. And it was a holy day. Holy means a festival of colors where we play with colors. The kids play with colors, right? And somebody threw a bucket of water on me on the holy day. So I thought maybe somebody just threw a colored water on me. And the next morning, when I was laying in the bed, my brother tried to wake me up. He wanted to pull me out of the bed. He said, let's go play, let's go play. But I was not able to move. And he kept insisting that I play with him. So he pulled me out of the bed and I just collapsed on the floor. And my dad was sitting there and watching us. And he got up and then he picked me up and he took me to the doctor. So my body was completely paralyzed. And he went from one doctor to another. And finally, when all the doctors said that I have polio and there is no cure for polio, my father came back. But he did not give up he wanted me to get better no matter what. So he didn't give up. One of his friends was a Brahmin. He was like a Hindu priest. So he called him. My dad was the chief of the village. He was a prominent man. So he called on this guy and consulted him. He said, can you do anything for my son? And he said, well, not much, but I can see what I can do. So he told my dad that he can do the prayer for me, and there is a 50-50 chance that I can get better or not. So my dad said, do the prayer and let's see, we'll take the 50% chance. So he did the prayer for me. He did a couple of hours of prayer. And at the end of the prayer, he told my dad that on this particular day, if he begins to recover, he will recover 100%. But if he doesn't recover on this particular day, he doesn't start the recovery, he would never get better. So we kind of, I was paralyzed, so I used to have my two older brothers to take care of me, take me to the bathroom and stuff. And on that particular date that Brahmin had told us, my older brothers were holding me. I was sitting in the toilet seat, and I told my brothers to leave me. But they said, "Oh, you're going to fall down. Don't do that." And my father came, and he said, "Let's see, if we can listen to him, whatever he's trying to say." And then they left me, and I walked out of the toilet that day. Now this is my story. And
so
after that I recovered. After that I recovered 100%. Now I have one side of my body is about an inch shorter, but other than that, I'm perfectly normal.
First of all, I am so sorry that happened to you, because that sounds really traumatic. And I'm so glad that you are okay. I have a couple of things to throw out, and maybe you can answer whichever one.
I have one more.
Yeah, let's get to that. But just to keep the call going, let's just we'll stay on track, and then you can get back to what you were going to say. But my first thing is, throughout that whole story, I didn't hear anything that led me to think there was a God involved. In fact, I hear a lot of things making me think there was nothing supernatural involved, because, like you just said, you said part of your body is still, did you say 1 inch shorter than the other? And I'm curious, why would a God heal you partially?
Okay. I'm not talking about God healed me or somebody else healed me. I'm just telling you the story. So
right. So wait, but is that story that story supposed to be one of the reasons why you believe? Just for time's sake, I'm just trying to get us a little bit more concise here.
Yeah, that's one of the stories. That is story when I was 7, 8 years old, and after that, my life was perfectly normal, and I never even thought about that.
Yeah. So I'm just curious. So that sounds just like a story, which I'm so sorry again that you went through that. Glad you're okay. I'm not sure. I do like my question. So you don't think that God healed you? What do you think from that story? Do you think
not in the Christian sense? So I did not make anything out of that.
Sense.
Yeah. So until I went to engineering school, I did my engineering, I did my MBA. After MBA, I went back to my village, and we started talking about it, and I asked my mother. I asked her, I want to know the whole story. So she said, this is what she told me, that 2 years later, after I got better, my dad died. I was like 10 years old. And my mother told me that the neighbors, old lady came to her and she started crying to my mother, and she wanted to tell her something. And my mother said, why are you afraid? Why don't you tell me what you're trying to say? And she said, your son, like me, did not have polio. They had done black magic on me. So the bucket of water that they had thrown on me was actually black magic on me. And then he said, this was the reason I got sick. And then what happened is, when my dad died, he had gone to, one of my uncles wanted to go see another Brahmin.
Hey, Harry, forgive me, my friend. India. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, we simply do not have the bandwidth for a really, really long story. But what I'm hearing, and what I've only heard, and you tell me if I missed it, what I'm hearing is so-and-so said, well, we know you got sick, and we're very sorry that you got sick. But someone said it was black magic. But how would someone else know that? If you were healed by a specific deity, how would someone know that? There's not a lot we can sink our teeth into. So, I mean, I really need us to get to sort of the pinnacle of the story so we can address the claim and move on to the next call. Can you get us there quickly, my friend?
Yeah. So I didn't make out anything out of the story, but I thought there is something out there which we don't know. Now, I'm an engineer by profession. I'm an electrical engineer. I run my business and all that. So I got interested in knowing what could be behind that. So I started studying religion. So what I found out, what my ideas are, like I developed a theory about religion, about what this religion is. Like, for example, when we are talking about God and religion are words that has a definition. And unless we understand what God is and what religion is, we cannot for sure say, whatever is being preached in the church or in the temples and stuff, we cannot make sense of that unless we have a backup theory behind that or a backup story behind that. So I started studying that.
All right, hang on. I'm going to stop you, my friend. One thing that we do not have in this moment is momentum. I feel like we're drifting. Mm-hmm. So we at some point are going to have to put a punctuation mark on this thought. But what I have heard so far is you had an experience, the supernatural was involved, you are an educated engineer, and I believe, do I infer that you see engineering all around us? Maybe that's a kind of design or intelligence that you see. You see a blueprint at work, and you have landed on the deity of the Sikh faith as the most likely engineer that created all of everything. Am I close?
No. When I'm studying religion, not only Sikhism, I'm talking about Christianity and Islam and Judaism and Hinduism, everything. All of the religion are telling me the same story.
No, Harry, I've muted you. The audience can't hear you. Listen, this is not an open mic to talk about our theories of, or what we believe or what we're advocating for. This is a place where people call in to make an argument for what they believe. So if you don't have an argument, we're going to have to let you go. Okay? I'm going to bring you back. Please, if you want to make an argument, do that. If you want to make an argument, do that. But if you just start telling us stories again, we're going to drop you. I will drop you.
No, I'm not telling you a story, but I am very nervous. So I have made the notes, and I don't know, I have never called before. This is my first time. So I really am not comfortable talking right now.
No, you're fine. I just, unfortunately, we're simply not, I don't think we are able in this format to be able to accommodate the extremely long form conversation that apparently this subject needs to have. My only thought at first blush would be if there was a designer, an intervener, we're back to who or what would it be, and how would you know? How would you qualify design? How would you explain or excuse or rationalize bad design? A lot of that I think we've already covered. I don't know, Eve, have I missed anything on that score?
Yeah, no, I think the problem is this could have been dealt with just you had personal experience, and then there's other things that have now kind of lined up with that personal experience in your perspective, and it's reinforced those beliefs that you had. My last point real quick, because then I do think we should probably move on to another call. And if you want to call back another time when you have like a solid argument ready, then I would love to hear that. But what I do find really interesting is you started the call saying like you were sorry for us that we were forced to be religious and all that, and that you weren't. But you also said then when you went on that you grew up in Sikhism, that this is what you've known your whole entire life. And that's my story. I grew up in Christianity. That's what I knew my whole entire life. So to me, it sounds like a lot of confirmation bias. And I think for this to be a real call, we have to, like Arden said, thank you, Arden. My jet lag is kicking in clearly. We need a solid argument of this is the God I believe in, which you did a good job telling us that, and this is why. And I don't think we're getting to the why. But if you want to call back another time and you have like a clear, concise, a couple of sentences to say this is why, then we'd be happy to take your call in the future.
Yeah, the whole story, like I have jotted down 5 different philosophies here, which I've studied. So if I want to get from point A to B, it's a very, very long story, and I don't know how I can.
Yeah, this isn't the right. This isn't the format for that, because this is where we're trying to actually engage in a conversation and have some back and forth going. And, that sounds like something more for you to have your own space to go and share that information if you have a lot of information. But this is not, as Arden said, this is not the platform for that. So we're going to let you go, but thank you for calling. If you want to call back sometime with like a clear, concise argument, we'd be happy to hear it.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
Thanks, Harry. Bye-bye.
I heard Arden's voice out of the blue, and I thought,
the voice of
yes,
God.
Lord, I'll build an ark. I will take my firstborn to the mountain and place him upon the altar. Command me, Lord.
Yeah, sorry about, I don't mean to trample. I was gonna butt in like 2 times before, and I was like, nope, the thread is gone this time. I gotta do it.
Hit your threshold and said no more. So that's awesome.
Hey, what's up? I'm glad you enjoyed that clip of people talking to each other. I'm Jimmy, and this is Eric. And well, we'd really love it if you would support us. Where can they support us, Eric? Where would they do that?
I don't know, Jimmy, because I don't have the notes on me right now.
This is too long. Like the outros have to be short. Patreon.com/call the line.